The idea of having the anti-venom symbiote for Spider-Man in Marvel Spider-Man 2 was simply the best idea they could have gone for. It was a master decision in all aspects because in terms of gameplay, keeping all the powers not only for Marvel Spider-Man 2 for possible DLCs, but also for a possible Marvel Spider-Man 3. And at the same time, in terms of story, it was amazing because again, he can keep it without going mad, and at the same time, it would be the perfect answer for dealing with Venom. Unfortunately, this perfect decision was turned into a disappointment in the end. You see, the anti-venom symbiote is just as powerful as the regular symbiote. It can do pretty much anything that the regular symbiote can, however, it has a corrosive touching for the other symbiotes, hence the name anti-venom. So when Spider-Man got the anti-venom symbiote in Marvel Spider-Man 2, you would expect him to have clear advantage over Venom and the other symbiotes. Not only because the anti-venom symbiote has advantage over the regular symbiote that Venom was using, but also because Spider-Man is a much stronger host than Harry Osborn. But for our surprises, when anti-venom Spider-Man fights against Venom in the end of the game, Venom easily takes the upper hand. Now, you can say that there might be an explanation for that, like maybe the symbiote that Venom was using got more powerful after touching the meteorite, or that the meteorite was boosting its power, or something like that. But the game doesn't give a good explanation or a clear response on why Venom is so much more powerful. Now, you can say that Spider-Man was holding back against Venom because he was afraid to kill Harry in the process, which makes sense with the cutscenes that we see later where Peter is using his corrosive powers of anti-venom, but not to the full extent. And only after Harry asks him to do it and says that he must do it in order to save everyone is when Peter finally decides to let it go and destroy Venom. But even if he was holding back, he should have more than enough power to deal with Venom. I know that their goal was to make Venom a threat big enough for both Spider-Man, but it just looks ridiculous when you give Peter the perfect weapon to handle Venom, and even then he fails. If they wanted Venom to be such a threat that is enough for both Spider-Man, they shouldn't have given the anti-venom symbiote for Peter. Just have regular Peter and regular Miles fighting Venom. When you give something as epic as the anti-venom symbiote for Peter, which was such a big surprise and such a moment where you felt like, okay, now I have what it takes, what it needs to handle Venom, and then you make Peter lose the fight against Venom as easily as it did, you just downgrade anti-venom Spider-Man to a level where it looks like it's useless. Before continuing, I just want to remind you to leave me a thumbs up to support my work in case you're enjoying this video, and also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to receive more content like this. And they could have still done this in so many different ways where Miles would still participate in the fight and not be left out, and at the same time not making it feel like Miles was the useless one and Peter did all by himself. They could have made Miles the one to distract Venom while MJ gets the meteorite and Peter the one who helps MJ set up the particle accelerator, which makes a lot more sense because Peter is the physics guy. He is literally a physics teacher and he was the one who was working with the particle accelerator before with Harry. So the plan could have been, Miles, you go there, you pretend like you're gonna get the meteorite, and then you lure Venom out because he knows he's the only one who can stop Miles. The other symbiotes are not gonna have enough power to stop Miles. So Venom is the one who has to do it. You lure Venom out of there. MJ goes in to grab the meteorite while I, Peter, beat the smaller symbiotes around. After she gets the meteorite, I'll go with her to the particle accelerator, I'll set it all up for her, and once I'm done setting up, she's gonna stay there until it's ready to press start, and I'm gonna go after you to help you fight Venom. Then he could either go after Miles, or Miles and Venom could end up crashing Emily May Foundation during their fight, and when Peter got to Miles, or when Miles and Venom got to Peter and MJ, Peter could say something like this: okay Miles, I got this, you go help MJ, and now I'm gonna be fighting Venom. This way, Miles would have fought Venom before, he would have slowed him down enough time for Peter and MJ to set up the meteorite, and nobody could say that Miles lost to Venom only so that Peter would win to prove that he is the best Spider-Man, because the fight between Miles and Venom would never be over, because Peter Parker would intervene in the fight before the results and the outcomes of the fight. And it would make sense for Peter to say, let me handle Venom, because he literally has the perfect weapon to handle Venom, which is the anti-venom symbiote. It wouldn't feel like Peter is saying that because, oh, let me do this because I'm the best. He would do that because he again has the perfect weapon to do that. While Miles would be helping MJ and stopping the other symbiotes from reaching the meteorite, which Miles is totally capable of because he has more than enough power to handle the other symbiotes. This way, both Spider-Man would participate in the fight, both of them would be important, but at the same time, they wouldn't make anti-venom Spider-Man feel so useless. He would go there and he would do what he was supposed to, which is to destroy Venom, because again, he's using the anti-venom symbiote. Now, if you still feel like that's not good enough for Miles and that they're still tossing him aside, they could also go for something like this. After setting up the particle accelerator, before Peter can go help Miles, Prowler could show up and try to help. He said he wouldn't be Prowler anymore, but now the world's pretty much ending. I mean, Venom's trying to dominate everything, and he just wants to help to avoid that the symbiote can spread. He gets to the particle accelerator and says to Spider-Man, "You go and help my nephew while I protect MJ and the meteorite from the other symbiotes." Spider-Man goes after Miles and says, "Okay, leave Venom to me. You go and help MJ and your uncle." And then when Miles gets there, his uncle is trying to protect MJ, but then the symbiotes grab a hold of Prowler, and then we have Miles fighting a symbiote Prowler. Peter would be handling Venom because, again, he's got the perfect weapon to do that, and because it's his best friend Harry. The connection between Peter and Venom is much bigger than Miles anyway, so let Peter handle Venom. While Miles would have to handle his uncle with the symbiote, which would be more appropriate because, again, he is more of a connection to Miles, so Miles would fight against someone who he cares about. And at the same time, it would be a challenge because his Uncle Prowler already has abilities, but with the symbiote enhancing them. Boom, everybody's happy. I just want to make clear that I'm not talking about Anti-Venom Spider-Man and Miles. I'm not saying that they made Miles look good and Peter look bad or vice versa. I'm making the comparison between Anti-Venom Spider-Man and Venom. The reason why I put Miles in the discussion is because some could use the argument that the reason why they made Peter lose was so that Miles could have a chance of fighting Venom. So I just gave you some options of how the story could go in a way where Miles would also participate in the fight against Venom. He wouldn't necessarily lose the fight to make Peter look good, and he could have a good ending for himself, maybe fighting his uncle, or even if he didn't fight his uncle, he fought Venom and didn't lose to make Peter look good, but also giving Anti-Venom Spider-Man the ending that he deserved. This discussion of Miles getting privileged over Peter or Peter getting privileged over Miles, I'm gonna leave for a future video, so stay tuned. But to sum it up, my complaint is, Anti-Venom Spider-Man seems useless, while Venom seems too overpowered with no good explanation on why. If we think using logic, it would make sense for Anti-Venom Spider-Man to be a lot more powerful than Venom, but they made Venom a lot more powerful than Anti-Venom Spider-Man. If you guys have any ideas or theories on why is that, please leave it in the comments and let's try figuring that out together. But again, other than this illogical power difference between Anti-Venom Spider-Man and Venom, I gotta say that the Anti-Venom was such a great play from them. I loved it so much. I got so hyped when I saw it, and they simply found the perfect way to keep the symbiote for the future. I was always thinking about, okay, we're gonna have Marvel Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna have the symbiote power, but what if there's a Marvel Spider-Man 3? Will I lose the power? Will I not be able to use them again? And they simply found the perfect answer. If you'd like to support my work, please check out my membership by clicking on the join button below. That would support me and I'd be super thankful. So, I want to hear your thoughts now. Did you like the Anti-Venom symbiote? What did you think of the ending of the game? Do you feel like Venom was too overpowered or that Anti-Venom Spider-Man was underpowered? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments and let's be greater together.